What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Now, today's video, we are going to be talking about legs. I mean, what I've decided to do is kind of give you some tips and pointers on certain exercises that I do on my body parts that I like doing, and explain how I use them effectively, especially when it comes to growing. The first one, and what we're doing today is, as you've seen in the title, talking about squats. Squats. Probably one of the exercises that has been used or done a lot by most people. I'm hoping most of you have do squats. It's an incredible compound exercise, and I am going to use this video to explain to you how I use squats effectively to grow. Now, I know you're all thinking, well, squats, we already know what to do. Get the bar on our backs and go down and up. Yeah, but I'm going to give you loads of fun variations on how you can use squats in different ways. There are so many ways, and you are going to be either surprised, or actually you might know these, but I would now start implementing more of it into your training. So before I get into the video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. That would be awesome, and make sure you subscribe. So this video, I am focusing on barbell squats. Yes, you can use dumbbells. Yes, you can use kettlebells to perform various types of squats, but we're just focusing on barbell squats and the different variations that I like to perform when doing barbell squats. So first, we have a full back squat, which is what everybody else does, which is the conventional full back squat. I also like to add front squats as well, which is probably a great movement for your quads, as well as core activation and core work, because front squats require you to use a lot more of your core when performing the movement, and it's a great exercise for your quads. And the next one I like to do is the heel elevated narrow stance squats. Now, with this exercise, if you have bad ankle mobility, elevating your heels is perfect. Using weightlifting shoes is absolutely fine. I like to have a narrow stance because to focus more on my quads. One thing I like to do with heel elevated squats is sometimes I don't go all the way down. I don't do a full squat. That's when I do a narrow stance squat. So what I mean is I stop where my hips are parallel to my knees, just to keep that tension on my quads. And it's a narrow stance as well, means you're focusing more on your quads than you are on your glutes. Next, sumo squats. I love doing sumo squats because it allows me to focus on my glutes and my hamstrings. It's really great for your hamstrings and glutes. So really focus on activating your glutes and your hamstrings, especially during the concentric of the movement. It's a great exercise, a great squat movement to perform if you're trying to grow your hamstrings and your glutes. And this is what guys should focus on, not just girls. So strong hamstrings will translate very well when you're doing your heavy 1 rep max squats. Strong glutes and strong hamstrings, so remember that. As I explained during the narrow stance squats, I like to sometimes implement half squats. And what that means is just not going below parallel, keeping the tension on my quads. I love doing these, especially I actually don't use heavy weights on this, always light weights and nice and controlled to really target my quads. And this, a lot of the times people will watch my video and think, oh, he's not going, arse to grass or going parallel, he's half repping it. This is the time when half repping is actually fine because there's a purpose to it. Remember, everything has to have a purpose. I am doing this because I am trying to focus on my quads, and I find that it works awesome with my training. And I just like to add this into my leg days. So some sessions, so not every session, but some sessions I do have half squats into my squat routine. And next up, we have the Anderson squats. Now this one is something that I've done in one of my videos, and a lot of people have never tried it before. It is a fun exercise to do, but it's a great one for your hamstrings and your glutes as well. Anderson squats makes you have to really use your glutes and your hamstrings to get back up. So it's a squat that helps you improve the weakest point in a squat position, which is when you are down to the floor. So when you're down to the floor, a lot of the times we bounce, and this is where the Anderson squats comes into play. It doesn't allow you to do that. You have to use a lot of glute and hamstring activation to get you back up. So remember this. The one thing I see a lot of people do, except if you're a powerlifter or you're doing 1 rep maxes, even then, a lot of people bounce from their squats, and the Anderson squat stops you doing that. I try and avoid bouncing when I do squats. I understand the need for it when you are doing a 1 rep max, when you are fatigued and you're trying to get that 1 rep, but try and keep that to a minimum. And this is where the Anderson squats, if you're trying to get stronger with your squats, this is probably one of the best things to add. And this also is the same for box squats. I don't do box squats, but box squats work just as well. So box squats is a great way to improve your hamstrings and your glute development and help you get stronger in your squats. So I try and implement all of these, not into one session, but I break it down into different sessions. But now I'm going to show you the small details that I include into my training to make each and every one of these exercises really effective when it comes to developing and growing my legs. So number one thing I do when it comes to trying to use squats to help me grow my legs is periodization. So making sure that my program, there's a strength phase and there is a hypertrophy phase. So strength phase will be low volume. So 5 rep maxes, 4 rep, 3, 2, 1. And then hypertrophy will be high volume, 12 reps, loads of drop sets, loads of supersets. So I always try and mix those two together in my training program. So what I do is maybe 4 weeks of a strength phase and about 5 to 6 weeks of hypertrophy. Yes, on my channel, you might see different types of training going on, and you think, oh, he's just trains randomly. No, I do have a set way I train myself personally, and what I show you on YouTube is just part of how my training is laid out and structured. So periodization is key. It could be 1 week of strength work and then another week of hypertrophy work when you are structuring your training plan. Make sure you do have a periodized training, and also try and include some form of deload week. So let's say you've been training hardcore for 8 weeks, try and have 1 week where you just go at 50%. And that is periodizing your training. Okay, before I get into the next point, I would like to give a special mention to my sponsor, Whoop, which is the fitness tracker I use. It's more than a fitness tracker. It tracks my sleep, my recovery, my heart rate variability, which helps track my recovery. It also gives you optimal training for the day. So it actually goes off your recovery and actually gives you your, it has a strength coach and a sleep coach, which is so important. So I've been using them for a year. You've probably noticed me wear them all the time, but I just partnered with them this year. So I cannot recommend them highly enough. So use my discount code OB and you will get an awesome 15% discount, because who doesn't love a discount? So check them out, put the link in my description. Back to the video. One thing that's very important for me when training, especially with legs, is time under tension. So tempos, you guys see this a lot in my videos. Making sure I have, I try and include different types of tempo work in my leg training. So some sessions I might do squats. I might do, let's say, a normal back squat, 4-second tempo on the eccentric. And trust me, by putting the muscle under as much tension as possible, this would force it to grow, because you're recruiting a lot more muscle fiber to perform that movement. I would always say to you, take the weight down and practice this. I tend to not go too heavy when I'm doing a lot of time under tension, because you would know why when you perform these exercises. Take your ego out of training, especially when it comes to hypertrophy work, high volume work, because this is going to benefit you in the long run. If you're doing a 4-second eccentric, you will not be able to do that with a 200 kilo on the bar for 10 to 12 reps. If you can, then, you know, I salute you, because that is, good luck. So yeah, take your ego out of this and focus on time on the tension. Another perfect example, and this one is probably going to suck because I know a lot of people that have done this and I've put in the program and they've struggled with this. I do a lot of the times is very eccentric and concentric of a squat. So 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up, or it could be 4 seconds down, 2 seconds up on the concentric. A lot of the times we forget that we can add some tempo into the concentric phase of the exercise, which makes it absolutely killer. And also using things like pause squats, which again is part of time on the tension. So can you imagine doing 4 seconds down and then pause for maybe 2 seconds with a heavy load on your back, and then having to really activate your glutes and your hamstrings to bring the bar back up. So adding things like pause squats really would also help you in developing your legs because you're putting the muscle under as much tension as possible. So these 3 different examples I've given you are great ways to add into your training to progressively overload the muscle and to help you grow. So take that into account when you are programming your next leg session. So one thing I like to do when squatting, especially when it's high volume, so 8 plus reps. Before I squat down, okay, I like to obviously knees bent slightly, so it's not flexed or extended. Okay, knees bent slightly. What I like to do is activate my quads, and I do this by externally rotating. Okay, so my hips, and that activates your glutes actually. So you see the difference there, and I'm flat-footed, so I have to make sure I do this, but it's a good way to make sure your quads get engaged. Okay, so imagine with your foot, imagine you're trying to open the ground outwards, okay? So, activated, relaxed, activated, before going down, come back up, keep that tension in your quads. Remember, my knees are still bent, they're not straight. A lot of people think my knees are straight, they're not bent. Down and up. If you do that about 8 to 10 reps, you're going to feel the difference on your quads. So a lot of people say I can't feel my quads when I squat. If you do that trick, it works a treat. That was a rhyme. And finally, final point is there's a time and place for everything. If you are doing low volume work, 2 rep maxes, 1 rep maxes, absolutely. Time on the tension, slow tempos won't work, slow eccentrics won't work because you're just trying to go from A to B. That's absolutely fine. That is for you to get stronger. But now if you want to grow, you need to add those bits of periodization, you need to add progressive overload, you need to add time on the tension, which is under the umbrella of progressive overload. Things like supersets, drop sets when you're doing a session, that would really help you develop your legs because you are giving it the best possible opportunities. You're adding everything you can into making it possible for your legs to grow and for you to grow mass on your legs and actually to develop your legs and to get stronger rather than focusing on one thing and then ignoring and neglecting everything else. So the main thing is try and make sure you have a periodized training plan. Try and make sure you are adding variety. So if you're doing a back squat for 2 weeks, maybe add some front squats into your program for 1 week. Maybe another week add some sumos, add some Anderson squats. Try and give your legs the best possible chance to grow. And also this will help you when it comes to strength training because remember you're still doing the strength phase as well. Hopefully you found this video useful. I can waffle on forever because I love talking about training, as you could probably tell. So I'm hoping that this helps you. This video really helps you. Oh, and as you can see, I only use 60 kilos to demonstrate every single one of these. My legs are pumped. Look at that. And that's just from doing just 60 kilos on the bar, demonstrating every single one, just to show you, I mean, look, crazy. And imagine doing 50% more than that and doing some of those, adding some of those tempos into your sessions. It's all absolutely horrendous, but it's awesome at the same time. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and make sure you subscribe. I am going now to get some food because, yeah, can't believe that. I've been off from the gym for about 3 months. Give me a break. See you later. Bye. Bye.